Here is why investors are saying no to you. Trust me, it has nothing to do with your pitch. It has nothing to do with your business. It has nothing to do with your face. Don't think that there's something wrong with your nose or your dressing. You got that right. I mean, we have been building confidence. We are building capacity. We are building our style. We are serious about how we present ourselves before investors. But you are still getting no. Listen, investors don't just fund businesses. Investors will fund clarity, and investors will fund confidence. Those are the two things you need to have. You need to have clarity and you need to have confidence. If you're gonna build wealth, if you're gonna break the curse of poverty, if you're going to be the one that will be the circle breaker, the one that will remove your bloodline from the pain of poverty, then you're going to need investors. Any meaningful business that will scale will never be funded from your back pocket. You need investors. There are 3 things that you can do to ensure that you have higher success every time you meet investors. Here's number 1. The number 1 thing that investors look for is a compelling story. Baby, if you're going to land investors, learn how to storytell. Storytelling is arguably the most important tool for an entrepreneur. It's the most important tool for a startupper. It is the most important tool for the man that will build wealth. It is very key that you don't just talk about the problems, but you put the problems in a story. For example, the Airbnb brothers, when they were pitching their business, they didn't come with a very technical pitch. They talked about their frustration in getting affordable accommodation. They gave their story of how they would go for holiday, or how they would go for business meetings, or how they travel. And it would be very painful that the hotel and accommodation costs were so painful that it was hindering their natural life. It was hindering relationships. It was hindering adventure. Look at that. They have strategically put in the problem they are solving in a story about their lives. Use creativity and innovation to infuse the problem you are solving in a story. Stories have a way of sneaking into our hearts. And you know what the heart does? The heart sneaks into the brain from the backside. And all of a sudden, you have a yes that begins to look like you didn't even expect a yes. But because of the power of your storytelling, your possibility, your probability of closing the investor increases. Here's the number 2 thing that you need to do. The number 2 thing that you need to do after you give a beautiful story of how you have solved this problem, you are just living your normal life and you encountered this challenge and you solved it for a profit. The next thing you need to begin talking about is numbers that matter. Speak about what is your revenue position so far. What is your revenue growth? What is your week-on-week revenue growth? What is your traction? How many customers have onboarded into your solution? What is the speed of onboarding? Begin to identify specific numbers that are speaking the investor's language. What is the return on capital employed, ROS? So far, what has been your weighted average capital cost? What's your WACC? What is your cost of debt so far? What is your cost of equity? You are able to begin to reel in the investors and you are showing them what their dollars will do. Here's the 3rd thing. The 3rd thing to do to improve the number of yeses you are getting from investment meetings is you need to have a clear ask. Don't have an ask like, we are raising $1 million. Shut up your mouth. You're not ready to receive any investment. As a matter of fact, we'll kick you out. You know the way they nod politely and they say, okay, we'll get back to you. That's another way of saying, no, you are such a joker, we're giving you nothing. You'll get 0 from here. What basically you need to do, you need to come with a slide that says we are raising $1 million to expand into 2 markets, to improve our technology, and to bring in 5 more key hires. Here are the 5 key hires. These 3 things will improve our revenue by 20%. Will improve the efficiency of our capital structure. It will not only reduce our debt, but it will also improve the valuation of our outstanding book, of our outstanding equity. The kind of ask that gets yeses from investors is the kind of ask that has outputs tied to it. If you study the Uber's first presentation, if you go to Uber's first pitch, you realize that it was never fancy. You realize that it was not flashy. It had a clear value proposition. It outlined a market potential. It had a clear ask. What was the result? The result was a $200 million initial investment. Do your pitches like this and see investors giving you more dollars, more return for your effort. Do you want to nail your investor pitch? Hit subscribe, like, comment for more content like this.